Hey there, welcome to the channel. This is Cafinicus, and today's World of Warships video will feature a game in the Vladivostok, the Tier 8 Tech Tree Russian battleship. This is a Tier 8 maximum game on the map Northern Waters. I spawned south, and there are two locations I could use initially. One, west at the F3G3 area at the tip of the island, or work around the small islands at the sea cap. The western location favors a linear fight, which the Vladivostok is good at, but I decide to go to the sea cap for ships and giggles. So, what's good about the Vladivostok? Well, it has a beefy health pool of 73.6k HP. The armor profile is great. It does have 32mm on the front and rear plates, but the deck is between 40 to 50mm thick, and there's also a strake of 200mm armor at the waterline that extends from the citadel to about two-thirds of the way to the bow, and this cannot be overmatched by any ships currently in the game. The Vladivostok also has 9 406mm guns in 3 triple turrets, and these have hard-hitting AP shells with 13.1k maximum damage on a citadel hit. It also has decent concealment at 12.2 kilometers with a concealment mod, captain skills, and camouflage, and the maneuverability isn't bad either with decent speed of 29 knots base, good rudder shift, but a terrible turning radius of 950 meters. However, the ship does have some weaknesses, primarily an 18-kilometer main battery firing range, with no way of increasing that range. At least the Monarch, which has a similar base range of 18.1 kilometers, can use a spotter plane to fire further out. The Vladivostok simply cannot. So I made the fire control system my priority research upgrade on the ship, and got the upgraded hull later. The Vladivostok also has wonky accuracy, especially at range, and a slightly longer than usual reload time for a battleship of 33 seconds. The AA is so-so, but you can supplement that somewhat with your catapult fighter. And finally, while you have good armor overall, you do have a big chunk of 32mm armor on your hull plating in front of the A turret and behind the X turret, which is susceptible to HE penetration. So with that, let's get back to the game. I took my first salvo there against the Baltimore, but only hit 3 overpins as he was hiding his hull well behind the island. I'd also like to push up here, but I didn't want to get in the way of my Bismarck, so I make a turn behind the Bismarck before turning back north. Most of the enemy ships on this flank are outside of my firing range anyway, so I do have to push up to be effective. The enemy ranger is focused on this side and keeps me lit while dropping on our T-61 up ahead. I'm a little bit far behind, so I can't really help there. Although he is now starting a drop on our Otago, and here's where you can see the effectiveness, or lack of the Vladivostok's AA. It doesn't really do much, even against a lower tier carrier at range. You saw the same ineffectiveness in the long-range AA power of the ship early on in the game as I was making my way east, and I've done less than 6k damage against tier 6 planes and only shot down one so far. I'm lining up a shot here against the Sinop, and this is a good example of the effects of Deadeye on a battleship, which you'll see several times throughout this game. He's going to pop back up right here, and he's about 16 kilometers away. My shells are out. It's going to take a couple of seconds to get there, but you see that I hit 6 out of 9 shells, even with the accuracy of the Vladivostok. Sure, half of those shells ricochet or shattered, but we still get 10k damage. So I'm gonna try to stay about 13 kilometers or so away from the nearest spotted enemy throughout this game in order to keep Deadeye active. The Baltimore does take a shot at me, but I soon go dark, and we know there's an enemy destroyer in sea, and with that torpedo spread we're pretty sure it's the Hatsuharu, so I have to make sure I don't sail in a straight line. I'm holding my shot here, waiting for the Baltimore to pop up. But it looks like he's a bit faster than I expected, and he gets behind the island with minimal damage taken. I stay on this course, to make sure I don't eat any surprise torpedoes while keeping my guns on the last known location of the Baltimore. He pops up again, and I'm gonna aim a little bit higher as I'm not sure I can pin his citadel from that angle, and I'm also trying to keep from hitting the island here. And yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and fire. 8.8 kilometers away, 8.9, and we get 4 shells in 8200 damage, so that's not so bad. We're going to go ahead and turn back in now. And I'm also going to go ahead and put out the fire. I have a fast acting damage control party, and I don't expect any other incoming HE damage other than from the Baltimore. Looks like the Hatsuharu on the enemy team is briefly spotted, but he goes right back behind the island. Our T-61 over there also kindly spots the incoming torpedoes, unfortunately with his hull. So we're clear to push up for a while. I want to make sure I take out the Baltimore first, and then I'll continue my push forward. So we're just going to outrun these torpedoes that are coming in from the left, and make sure we keep our guns pointed in the rough location where the Baltimore was last located. And it also looks like our Fubuki and the enemy Monarch have deleted each other on the other side of the map. The Baltimore does get spotted, sitting still, and well, cool kids don't need to watch the explosions. The Hatsuharu does get spotted again, but he reverses, and it looks like he's going to smoke up there before we can get our guns to reload. So with the Baltimore gone, we'll go ahead and push up. We do see the Alabama about 14 kilometers away, so we're gonna get a nice shot out on him right here. Get our shells out. And from 14 kilometers away, we get a nice citadel and 23,000 damage. So that was really nice. We also angle in and barely take any damage in return. Now here's where I is going to fail, because the Hatsuharu is spotted about 8 kilometers away, well within my base detection range of 12.2 kilometers. I'm going to take a shot here at the Sinop, which is about 15 kilometers away and almost stationary. And we get 2 out of 9 hits, both of which were overpens. So I'm going to push in just a little, but the Hatsuharu remains spotted, and I'm calling in fire for my team to see if they can take him out. In the meanwhile, I'm going to keep lining up a shot on that Sinop. Our team does take the Hatsuharu down to 600 health, but he is still spotted just as I fired that salvo, and he does disappear right after, and we do get 5 hits and about 9,000 damage. But I'm not 100% sure if Deadeye was actually active in that instance, as I fired while the destroyer was within my base detection range, even though he disappeared by the time my shells hit. Now our ranger does take out the Hatsuharu here, so Deadeye is back and activated as I shoot my 3rd salvo on the Sinop. So the range is still about the same. The Sinop is moving now, but look at that dispersion. And we finally get a citadel for 27k damage. I'm going to push up again here, but I'm just going to stay a little bit out of my 12.2 kilometer detection range. The Sinop clears the island, and I'm going to take my 4th salvo out on him. But I think this one is going to be a poor shot, and this is entirely my fault, as I didn't notice that the Sinop was making a full turn in time to adjust my aim. So I only get 1 hit, but at least it was a penetration, so that wasn't so bad at all. So again, we're going to keep pushing up here, and I'm going to see if I can shoot that Sinop from over the island, but I think that island's a little bit too high, so I don't think I'll be able to make a shot here. But oh wait, there's a Leander that just popped out 16.5 kilometers away at full health. Well, Deadeye is active, my shells are out, and the Leander actually disappears behind the island. But he's not at full health anymore, and that's a devastating strike even though we didn't get a ribbon. It looks like the devastating strike is still bugged out right now. But you can see how accurate battleships can be now with Deadeye, even one like the Vladivostok. We're going to shoot at the Synod one more time. It looks like he's run aground there, but maybe it was just a very little sandbar, so he was able to get up to speed again a lot quicker than I thought. So we only land 3 shells, and he's still alive. But that's okay. We have friends in the form of a Cleveland who will happily snack up that Synod. I'm a bit sad though at this point in the game, as most of the enemy team is either dead or running away. And the enemy ships on this flank really never even shot at me much, other than the Baltimore in the beginning and a salvo or two from the Alabama and the Synod. I almost feel like shouting things like, McLeod, McLeod, fight me, you cowards! Nobody will fight me, they all run away! And, maybe they're just afraid of this, strong Russian ship, and this is a really good battleship at Tier 8. It's actually got all 3 of the key elements of a good battleship: mobility, protection, and firepower. And when you add in the improved accuracy through Deadeye, it just makes the ship even better. Though I say that and proceed to miss on the Hipper, and my remaining shells were in the air, but he gets taken out by our Colorado. So I'm going to turn a little bit and see if I can take a punt at the Alabama. Yeah, the Gneisenau now disappears just as I was about to fire. But I'm not really comfortable at shooting in this angle, and it looks like my shells from my rear turrets actually miss. So we're gonna keep pushing up a little bit more. There are only 3 ships left on the enemy team. The Gneisenau does pop up, and at 16 kilometers, my front guns fire, and we hit 3 out of 6, which isn't really bad at all, although we only get 1 overpen. And I try to fire my rear guns, but it looks like he gets behind the island and he's turning, and so those shells miss. We spot the Ranger here, and at this point I'm thinking let's just go ahead and farm the damage, as the game will be over soon. I turn my ship and aim my front guns. Shells are out, and now my rear guns are going to fire, and we do get 5 out of 6 hits with our front guns alone, with 1 citadel and another hit on our rear guns. The Ranger is sending his planes towards me as I am the closest target here, but I'm not really going to care very much. But you do see though that as the enemy planes get closer, we do start shooting some of them down. So the close range AA is okay on the Vladivostok. I think that my second salvo here should kill him, but unfortunately only 4 overpens. Rear guns are out and more overpens. And now the torpedo bombers are incoming. The Alabama is barely holding on. The Gneisenau is dead, and I'm gonna line up my shot really carefully here. And shells are out. Torpedo bombers are about to drop, and we get our 3rd kill on the Ranger to end the game. Now let's take a look at the post-game results. We did 173,000 damage, hitting 6 ships and sinking 3 for our high caliber achievement. We got 2,163 base XP for this game, which is okay considering the enemy team started to run away from us halfway through the game. We also hit 58 out of 159 shells fired, which was really nice, and got 5 citadels. we didn't really take very much damage at all in this game, as we weren't under very much focus fire at all, so we weren't able to showcase the armor of the Vladivostok. But we can also see that we didn't do very much damage to the enemy planes until towards the end, when the Rangers started sending torpedo bombers and dive bombers in close towards our ship. For anyone interested, here are the equipment and captain skills I used for the Vladivostok. Main armaments Mod 1, damage control systems Mod 1, aiming systems Mod 1 to increase the accuracy, concealment systems, and also steering gears. And you could take propulsion or damage control too on the 4th slot. I just prefer to get the rudder shift down to 11 seconds with steering gears Mod 1. For captain skills, I have preventative maintenance, priority target, adrenaline rush, concealment, deadeye, and emergency repair expert. The Vladivostok only comes with a base 3 repair parties and 4 damage control charges, so I feel that emergency repair expert is critical to help with survivability. So, the Vladivostok. I do like this ship. As I mentioned, it fills the checkboxes for the 3 key elements you want in a battleship. Good firepower, limited range notwithstanding, good armor protection, which we unfortunately didn't test very much in this game, and good mobility. Deadeye further mitigates the issue of poor accuracy at range and gives you more utility at mid-ranges. I tend to find myself sitting at 13 to 14 kilometers away from enemy ships, taking shots at anything that comes my way, and then pushing in once I know that I won't get flanked or pincered. Also, the third turret on the Vladivostok has pretty good firing angles. I think it's about 30 to 35 degrees, so you can turn your ship to fire and then slightly turn back to bounce shells against the armor. And one thing you do want to watch out for is HE or fire spam, as you only have a limited number of damage control and repair party consumable charges, so do use them wisely. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please feel free to hit the like button or subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and please join me again next week for more World of Warships videos. Thank you for watching, and take care.